What if the thing destroying you is actually trying to save you 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, promising yourself this was the last time? Never again. But here you are. Again. The shame wraps around your throat like a familiar hand. They've told you what's wrong with you. Weak, broken, lacking discipline. But what if every single one of them has been wrong? You can't just stop the way others can. When normal people reach for a drink, it's a drink. When you reach for it, you're reaching for something infinite. Something that might finally fill the emptiness eating you alive. This difference isn't weakness. It's a mark. In 1961, a letter described the craving for alcohol as spiritual thirst expressed at the wrong level. The soul's longing for wholeness, seeking union with something greater, but looking in all the wrong places. What appears as destruction is actually misdirected divinity. You carry a hunger nothing in this world can satisfy. Not success, not love, not achievement. Every time you try to fill the void, it grows larger. This terrifies you because you think something is fundamentally wrong with you. But here's the truth. Your inability to be satisfied with ordinary pleasures is not your curse. It's your calling. You were made for transcendence, and your soul refuses to settle for anything less. The divine restlessness that drives you to substances, to behaviors you can't control, that restlessness is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to wake you up. God does not speak to everyone this way. Most people can live their entire lives on the surface, but you cannot. Something inside you reaches toward the infinite, even when it means annihilating yourself. That unbearable sensitivity to the emptiness of ordinary existence is the mark of the chosen. You were chosen not for an easy life, but for a transformed one. Chosen to descend into depths most people will never know exist. And your addiction is the brutal teacher forcing you toward transformation. The spiritual thirst is real. You've felt it your entire life. That sense that there must be something more, that this cannot be all there is. Other people seem content with things that leave you feeling hollow. And so you drink, you use, you act out. Not because you're weak, but because you're searching for the transcendent experience your soul knows is possible. You're trying to dissolve the barriers between yourself and the infinite. Trying to feel alive in a world that has made you numb. The tragedy is that what you're reaching for is real. The longing is legitimate, but you've been taught to satisfy spiritual hunger with material food. And it will never work. No amount of the substance will quench spiritual thirst. But the fact that nothing satisfies you is not proof of your brokenness. It's proof of your capacity. Your addiction is the desperate clue that keeps forcing you to confront the truth. There is something more, and you will destroy yourself trying to find it until you finally look in the right direction. Before you can understand where to look, you need to understand why the search has taken you to such dark places. The answer lies in the only place you've been running from: the shadow. You've tried to quit 1,000 times, made promises to yourself, to others, maybe to God. This time will be different, you said. And then you fell. Again. And each time feels like proof that you're fundamentally defective. But what if falling is not the opposite of rising? What if every collapse is actually a necessary descent? In the old stories, the hero always has to go down before they can go up. Into the underworld, into the belly of the whale. They have to face what terrifies them most. Only after that confrontation can they claim their true power and return transformed. Your addiction is your underworld. Each relapse is not failure. It's a forced excavation. Something inside you is being stripped away with every fall. The false self you constructed to survive. The masks you wear to hide what you really are. The lies you tell yourself about who you think you should be. Addiction has no patience for pretense. Every time you fall, You're forced to see something true about yourself, something you would never face if life were comfortable. This is brutal, but it's also sacred. There's a part of you that watches from the darkness of your own mind. It knows every secret you keep, every desire you've labeled shameful, every rage you've swallowed. This is your shadow, the collection of everything you've rejected about yourself. Most people never meet their shadow. They spend their entire lives keeping it buried. But you don't have that option. Your shadow refuses to stay hidden. It erupts through your addiction, forcing itself into your awareness. Every craving carries a message from your shadow. When you reach for the substance, you're responding to a part of yourself that has been silenced for too long. A part that holds truths you're terrified to admit. This is why the addiction feels so powerful, so impossible to resist. It's your shadow demanding to be seen. And the more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. Shadows grow in proportion to the light you try to force upon them. You cannot pray it away. You cannot discipline it away. The only way forward is integration. You must turn toward the darkness and look it in the face. You must acknowledge the parts of yourself you've spent years denying. The anger, the selfishness, the fear. This requires a kind of courage most people will never need. When you finally look at your shadow, you see everything you've been taught to despise. And you have a choice. Reject it again and sink deeper, or accept it and begin transformation. Here's what they don't tell you. The shadow doesn't just contain darkness. Hidden within it are gifts you've suppressed. Strengths you denied because they didn't fit what was expected. Parts of your authentic self that you buried to survive. Your shadow knows who you really are, stripped of all pretense. And once you integrate it, once you accept it as part of yourself, something miraculous begins. The addiction starts to lose its grip. Because addiction only has power when you're divided against yourself. When part of you wants to stop, and another part cannot. This internal war is exhausting, and the addiction feeds on that exhaustion. But when you make peace with your shadow, the war ends. You become whole. Not perfect, but complete. And in that completeness, you find strength that willpower alone could never provide. The descent into shadow is terrifying. You will see things about yourself you wish you could unsee. But this descent is not punishment. It's preparation. You're being forged in the darkness so you can carry light into places others cannot go. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's your teacher. And the lesson it's teaching is the most important one you'll ever learn. You cannot become whole by rejecting parts of yourself. You can only become whole by embracing all of it. The bottle promises peace, but delivers chaos. The substance offers freedom, but brings chains, every single time. You already know this. That moment of relief, followed by emptiness deeper than before. So why do you keep reaching for it? Because you're not actually reaching for the substance. You're reaching for what you believe it will give you. Connection, transcendence, relief from the unbearable weight of consciousness. The craving is not about the thing itself. It's about what that thing represents, a symbol for the spiritual connection you've lost or never had. When you drink, you're trying to dissolve the barriers between yourself and something infinite. When you use, you're trying to escape limited perception. When you engage in destructive behaviors, you're trying to feel alive. This is why simple solutions never work. People tell you to just stop, to have more willpower. But they fundamentally misunderstand what's happening. Your addiction is not about weakness, it's about misdirection. You're seeking something real, something legitimate. You're just looking in the wrong place. There's a God-shaped void inside you, an emptiness designed to be filled by connection with the divine, with meaning, with purpose, greater than yourself. But somewhere along the way, You learn to fill it with things that can never fit. Material solutions for spiritual problems. And every time you try, the void grows larger. You feel more lost than before, because you're using the wrong key for the lock. But here's where the teaching becomes profound. The fact that nothing satisfies you is not a curse, it's a clue. Every disappointment after using is God whispering, "Not this, not here." The craving that returns stronger each time is forcing you to exhaust all material solutions, so you finally turn inward. You can drink an ocean and still be thirsty. You can chase every high and still feel empty. And this impossibility is the point. Nothing in this world will ever be enough. That's the brutal truth. But it's also the liberation. Once you truly understand that no external thing will satisfy the hunger, you stop wasting energy trying. You stop believing the lie that one more drink will finally work. And in that moment of clear seeing, you can finally ask the right question. Not what can I use to make this feeling go away, but what is this feeling trying to tell me? Not how can I satisfy this craving, but what am I actually craving beneath the craving? The addiction becomes a translator. Every time you feel the pull, you pause and investigate. What am I really looking for right now? Connection. I'm lonely. Peace. I'm anxious. Escape. I'm avoiding something painful. And then you ask the deeper question. Where can I actually find that? This is when the transformation begins. When you stop trying to satisfy the craving and start listening to it. The craving becomes a compass pointing toward your unmet needs, your unhealed wounds. But there's something even deeper. Something that explains why the pain runs so deep, why you can't seem to heal the way others do. You carry a wound that refuses to close. You've tried everything to make it go away. But no matter what you do, it remains. Raw. Open. This is not an accident. Some wounds are not meant to heal conventionally. They're sacred marks placed deliberately on souls chosen for specific purpose. Your addiction is what keeps forcing you to stand in front of them. Most people have pain, but for some, the pain runs deeper. It becomes woven into the fabric of who they are, and no amount of healing work seems to touch it. This is the sacred wound, the thorn that will not be removed, the burden that makes you different. And it is the price of being chosen. Your addiction exists in direct relationship to this wound. When the wound tears open, you reach for your substance. They're locked in an eternal dance, and it feels impossible to break. But the wound is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Every time it opens, it's showing you something essential about your purpose. The deepest wounds create the deepest sensitivity. You can understand levels of human suffering that most people will never comprehend. And that understanding is intentional. Your wound has given you access to the darkness, and that access is preparation for sacred work. Every moment you've spent in pain, you are being trained to sit with someone in their darkest moment and communicate without words. I know. I've been there. You're not alone. The wound will not close because it's meant to stay open as a channel, a pathway, the broken place where healing begins for everyone you touch. Your addiction has been protecting you from the full weight of this wound. Perhaps you needed that protection until you were strong enough to face what lies beneath. But eventually, the protection becomes the prison. And when you're ready, when the pain of staying the same exceeds the fear of change, you begin to approach your wound differently. Not with hatred, but with curiosity. Not demanding it disappear, but asking what it has to teach. And in that moment, everything shifts. You've been fighting the addiction, fighting the shadow, fighting yourself, and it has exhausted you to the point of breaking. But what if the fight itself is the problem? Surrender is the word you've been terrified of because you think it means giving up. But surrender is not defeat. It's the recognition that you're facing something more powerful than your willpower. Surrender means admitting you cannot do this alone. You're strong, you're capable, you've survived things that should have destroyed you. But addiction does not respond to force. The harder you push against it, the harder it pushes back. What you resist persists. This is the law of the psyche. Until you stop fighting and start understanding, you'll remain trapped. Surrender means turning toward instead of away, looking at your shadow instead of hiding from it, feeling your wound instead of numbing it, listening to your cravings instead of hating yourself for them. This is the courage to face truth. The path forward is not a straight line up, it's a spiral. Down into the depths, then up toward understanding, then down again, deeper still. Each cycle takes you closer to the center. Each descent reveals something new. After a relapse, instead of drowning in shame, you investigate. What was I feeling before I used? What need was I trying to meet? You treat each episode as information, not moral failure. This is the beginning of integration. Your shadow is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to show you who you really are. Your wound is not evidence of brokenness. It's evidence of your capacity for transformation. Your craving is a signal alerting you to unmet needs. You practice pausing before reaching for your substance. In that space between impulse and action, you ask, what am I really looking for? And then you get honest. Connection, peace, escape, aliveness. And once you name it, you can address the actual need instead of medicating the symptom. Lonely, reach out to someone. Anxious, practice grounding. In pain, feel it instead of running. This doesn't mean the craving disappears, but it changes quality, becomes less desperate, less all-consuming, because you're no longer divided against yourself. The shadow work continues. You write without censorship about the parts of yourself you're ashamed of. You name them without judgment. You ask what these rejected parts need, and slowly you invite them back into yourself. You speak to your wound with tenderness, with patience. You stop demanding it disappear. You start seeing it as the very thing that makes you capable of the work you're being called to do. Integration is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice to turn toward truth instead of away from it, to choose understanding over judgment. And when you do this, something unexpected happens. The addiction loosens its grip, not all at once, but steadily, because it no longer serves a purpose. You're no longer at war with yourself. You notice space between stimulus and response. A craving arises, and instead of immediately acting, you pause. You breathe. You investigate. Your shadow aspects feel less terrifying. They're just parts of you, human parts, and by accepting them, you rob them of their power over you. Your wound still hurts. It may always hurt, but it no longer controls you. You've transformed your relationship to it, and in that transformation, you discover something profound. The wound is not your weakness, it's your strength. You are becoming whole, not perfect, not cured, but complete. You've descended into the shadow. You've faced your wound. You've begun the work of integration. And now you stand at the edge of understanding, looking back at everything the fire has revealed. Every moment of suffering was preparation. Every relapse was a lesson in humility. Every shame-filled morning was deepening your capacity for empathy. Nothing was wasted. It was all forging you into someone specific. You were not chosen for comfort. You were chosen for transformation that serves others. Your addiction was never about you alone. It was about who you would become through the process of facing it. Those who suffer most deeply develop the deepest capacity for compassion. Those who descend furthest can guide others through the underworld. Your wound is not just personal tragedy. It's your credential for sacred work most people cannot do. Because you know, not theoretically, you know in your bones what it feels like to be trapped, to hate yourself, to promise and fail until you don't recognize yourself anymore. You know the taste of despair, the weight of shame. And because you know you can sit with someone in their darkest moment and communicate without words, I've been there. You're not alone. That ability, that presence, that earned authority is what you've been being prepared for. Every moment in the fire was training. Training to hold space for others' shadows without flinching. Training to see the light in people who can only see their own darkness. This is the work of the wounded healer, the person who has been broken and is learning to use their brokenness as a tool for healing others. You don't need to be fully healed to do this work. Your ongoing struggles make you more effective, not less. Your new identity is not defined by your addiction. It's defined by your willingness to face it, to integrate it. You are no longer just an addict. You are someone who has been initiated into mysteries most people spend their whole lives avoiding. The shadow you've integrated gives you vision in darkness. The wound you carry allows grace to flow through you to others. The craving you've learned to understand becomes a compass pointing toward truth. You can now speak truth because you've lived it. Your words carry weight because they're forged in fire. Your presence offers hope because you are living proof that transformation is possible. This is your mission. Not to become perfect, but to become authentic. To share your journey with those still lost in the darkness. To be a light in places where light rarely reaches. The conversation with God continues. He's still speaking, but not through the addiction anymore. Now he speaks through your integration. Through the moments when you choose understanding over judgment. Through your capacity to sit with others' pain without trying to fix it. You hear him in the silence after you stop running. In the stillness when you face what you've been avoiding. The dialogue never ends. It just changes form. You are awake now, and that changes everything. The journey continues, but you're no longer walking blind. Every day is practice. Practice choosing integration over division. Practice choosing presence over escape. You were never broken. You were never cursed. You were marked by God for transformation that would make you capable of sacred work. Your addiction was the language he used because nothing else would reach you deep enough. Now you speak that language fluently, and there are others out there, still trapped in the cycle, still hating themselves, still believing they're too broken to be saved. They're waiting for someone who understands. Someone like you. This is what you were made for. Not despite your addiction, but because of it. Not despite your wound, but because of it. Everything that tried to destroy you has instead prepared you for the most important work you'll ever do. Go find the others. Show them that transformation is real, that wholeness is possible, that the very thing destroying them might be the language God is using to call them home. This is the sacred purpose. This is why you were chosen. You are ready now.